What's up, you guys? It's Jason from RPM, and today we're going to be filming a video on how to install your RZR 200 full RPM sport muffler. It is a 3-piece stepped header going into our sport muffler. It's all 304 stainless, TIG welded, has a fishtail tip, and you have the option to run a spark arrestor for all you guys riding in Forest Service lands and, you know, not private property. Obviously, we knew that that was going to be a big issue, so we incorporated our own spark arrestor, the little guy, into these sport mufflers. If you want to hear this muffler in action, you can click on the link below. We have a video that we filmed of stock and our sound clips. This is not a loud muffler by any means. It's great performing, a little bit deeper of an exhaust sound, and it looks sick. So let's jump into getting this thing installed. These are a couple of tools that we're going to use, but definitely not limited to. That's going to be a 13 wrench, 14 wrench for the O2 sensor, 10 mil deep for our clamps. We're going to have some wire snips to cut a zip tie that holds the O2 sensor in, and a ratchet and some extensions. The manifold is 2 13 mil bolts. Everything comes out pretty easy. We take the exhaust out with the O2 sensor as an entire assembly, and then we bolt it back together from there. I think the important thing is that when you're installing it, to never install something and tighten it all the way. Get all 3 pieces up there, get it all situated nice and loose, hardware holding it in place, and then kind of bolt it together from there so it can find its little, happy place. So we do pretty much always reuse the manifold gasket on these models because the way it's built, they really don't wear out. I mean, it's a huge gasket for a little machine, so you're good reusing it. And yeah, let's jump to it. All right, guys, I'm gonna loosen this muffler, but not completely remove the bolt yet. That way everything kind of is loose and free to move around. Then we're going to move down to the manifold right on the head and loosen those 13 mils as extension, or reach up there. It's just 2 bolts at the end of the exhaust. First thing I like to do though is I always clip this zip tie that holds the O2 sensor in. We'll do a whole new zip tie when we're done. All right, guys, with those 2 manifold nuts off, you can just pull this, and this whole thing is ready to just kind of slide on out of there. As it gets ready to come off there, I kind of just firmly hold it so you're not banging on the machine. Make sure you don't snag your O2 sensor. Now with the exhaust out, we're going to use a 14 mil and remove this O2 sensor. All right, guys, now we're back to this beautiful RPM head pipe. We're gonna put the O2 sensor in this head pipe, and then we will go to the bottom of the car and get it snug up on the head, and then we can start assembling the exhaust from there. This is super easy. Probably only takes like 15 minutes to put one of these exhausts on. All right, guys, with the head pipe up here, we're gonna make sure that the factory gasket is still there, and it is. And we're just gonna put this exhaust on and go from there. Guys, so now we're going to the second piece of the header. We're going to throw this clamp on. It just simply slides over like this. We're going to leave the clamp loose for now. Take the next clamp, slide it on our muffler. Muffler on. At this point, we're going to line up to the frame. Get it close. And then we will kind of pull everything down, get it all aligned. It really will self-align at this point. Now that we got the muffler all up there bolted on, we're gonna start moving on to these clamps and work our way down to the head. Go back down to the head, snug up those 13 mil nuts that hold the manifold to the cylinder head, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, we're gonna slap a zip tie right here. Hold that O2 sensor up there. All right, one step, now that everything is tightened, that a lot of guys forget is to wipe down the head pipe the whole way. You're gonna see a little bit of smoking on startup. You're gonna have even more smoking if you don't wipe it down. But what will happen is that all these fingerprints, they'll actually burn into the stainless pipe if you don't clean it. If you're running a spark arrestor, it's pretty simple. This is kind of a spring-loaded design. As you push, this thing will compress, and as it goes in, it'll compress. You're just simply trying to line this hole up with this hole right here. We're gonna push it in. There'll be a little bit of resistance, and then we're going to slide the bolt in. Guys, that's it. Your exhaust is installed. It's time to fire it up, make sure everything's good, and hit the trails and start ripping with your kid. Oh, so much better. Whew. You can pick these up at RPMSxS.com.